Welcome to the SharkPod, the podcast that explores business and lifestyle design in Ireland and beyond. And now, live from Greystone Studios, here are your hosts, Luke Curry and Mark Baker.
What is up, SharkNation? I'm here. I'm your host, Luke Curry, here live from Greystone Studios. I've got my brother-in-law, Mark Baker, here, who's also your co-host. Currently sitting under a picture of Bono that he made himself. He brought from home. It was a gift for me for Christmas, actually. So thanks very much for that, Mark. You're sitting in Bono's wing there.
What did you get me for Christmas? You want to tell the listeners?
Three pairs, if anything, Bono. 3 pairs of Calvin Klein underpants.
Wearing a pair today, actually.
Wear them in good health, as I say. But yeah, so
and a ticket to Damien Dempsey.
Yeah, which we might even talk about. This might become a gig review thing. Might become
more gigs, but yeah.
Maybe more gigs or know anything about music.
Be one of our monthly challenges.
Yeah. So I got my SharkPod, coffee here, ready to go. It's not actually a product, but it might be now. We're thinking that as well. So listen, Mark, thanks very much for agreeing to do a podcast with me. I remember we talked in your car about this about 6 weeks ago, and you were dropping me off to my mother-in-law's house, and I was like, we should do a podcast. And you're like, I don't know. And now we're here, and we've committed to 52 podcasts. Yeah. We've also built a little studio, and we have also hired up an intro for Greystones Studios.
Which you would have just heard there. Excellent.
Which you would have, yeah, I'm gonna put that in there. Yeah, okay, cool. So the reason why, let's kick off with the reason why we're doing this this podcast, Mark. So what's the driver behind this? What's your hot take?
Well, there's loads of different reasons, I suppose. If we're going way back to think when we were teenagers and thinking what to do with our lives and stuff like that, the answers were really probably only in books. You know, you had a good shelf of Geraldine had a good shelf of books for you.
Yeah.
Business books and stuff. The internet was obviously, it was there not that long ago, but
yeah,
there wasn't a lot of career guidance, stuff like that, and you know, kind of it's either you become an electrician or a plumber or an accountant or a solicitor.
Yeah.
And it was like they were the only options, a kind of either a trade or a profession. Well, there's a million things you can do, you know, and
yeah.
I probably know, even now, know a fraction of them. So
yeah.
And you don't just have to have one job, you know. You could have one main job. You could have a creative outlet that brings you in money, or maybe it doesn't bring in money, or maybe eventually, if you don't chase the money will come to you. Or you can have passive income. Probably didn't know what that was 10 years ago. You know?
Yeah, that's the big thing here. Not trying to get money for not actually going to the office and that type of thing.
Well, if you think back to even further back, like years ago, our grandparents, you have one job and that's kind of it. It was between the hours of 6 to 12 p.m. Like you couldn't really do anything else. But now you can have a side business, which your main business. You know, you could have multiple side businesses. You can outsource stuff to, you know, workers in the Philippines and stuff like that. It's just a whole lot of different stuff out there that like people aren't aware of, and I think I would have liked something like this, you know. And there is other podcasts like it, but we're going to speak to, you know, tradesmen, you know, how to start a gardening business, even stuff like that, like you tried before, you know.
Yeah, to just give some context to the listeners here. We've known each other for 17 years or so, and we would say I'm kind of the big picture guy, the idea guy,
the blind
ambition. I mean, we're sitting here live with the executioner, folks. Mark Baker. The biggest problem for me was making that leap from great idea, almost pats on the back for myself for having a good idea, business idea, a good way to make money, and then that was kind of enough for me. I never really took the next step there. So
procrastination,
it's passed down maybe. in the family there. Mark's married to my sister. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but that's how we know each other. But the biggest thing for me with the podcast is that why I want to start a podcast is, one, I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. I'm a commuter on the Dart. I work in a American tech firm, so I'm really going to be giving maybe some advice on tech sales and that type of career as well, or technology generally. I'll be able to shine a light on that. I have a good network in that area as well, so I can bring a lot of people in. We can have a chat about different things about that. But I also wanted to maybe use this podcast to find a bit of a tribe of people who are like-minded. We're going to have a segment of, mail in Luke at shark.a. We'll come to shark.a in a minute, and why this is all shark themed, and we've got our beautiful shark 3D image here, and our t-shirts. But the reason why we want to do this is really find a group of people. Oh yeah, sorry, and we're going to call it the mail bag. Mark is on the fence about that for his he's worried about his reputation. Anyway, the mail bag. I actually ripped that off on a different podcast, but we'll take it from there. Yeah, so what we're trying to do is this year we're going to commit to 52 episodes. It's going to be once a week. We're going to, at the end of the year, hopefully have ran lots of different experiments on income, on lifestyle design, on all the different goals that we have for the year. And we're trying to help people out there that are looking for like-minded people in Ireland who and beyond, as our boy Ray said at the beginning, help people kind of along with different ways of thinking about business and lifestyle design. We're going to bring in people who are making money on Airbnb, people who are making money on a ship on demand, all that type of stuff. So hopefully it will spark something in the imaginations of the people out there, and also give us the pride of having a small part to doing that. For us, we'll have a better network, we'll have a better outlook on what's possible. I think when we're gonna go deep into the backstory and stuff like that over the 52 episodes for sure. But if I knew then what I know now, I think I could do, if I had to do it all over again, I think I could do it way, way better. So I'm 30 now. If I could, talk to Luke at 18, we could be where I am now, 5 years ago, right? Yeah. So I went on this journey about 4 years ago where I left Ireland. I saw what was out there. I saw the potential of what the income that people can make out there in Canada, and once your mind is open to that next level, I think that it's a lot easier for you to just kind of live in that space. Like, so hopefully during the podcast we'll do that for people. We'll open people's minds and say, okay, if you work in an investment bank in Ireland, and you think that they are making good income, comparatively speaking they're not. So let's nip that in the bud now and have your focus on something that's way, way bigger, like 100 times bigger. Because something that they don't teach us in schools in Ireland is you can have as much as you want. There's no end to the amount of income, amount of freedom, the amount of time, the amount of travel, the amount of kids. Well, maybe there might be, and well, actually, you can adopt them, but you know what I mean. There's really no limit, and I think in schools we're kind of just beaten down a path of you got to do well in your. It's kind of, I think there's two ways to look at that. One is that you've got to do well in your leaving cert, so you get into a university course that leads to a job at the end of it that you never really wanted to do, but there's good money in it. But it can work, but for the vast majority of people that's not a good fit, right? The other one is the other kind of pool is where I kind of fit in, where I went to a very normal school. Shout out to Cabinteely Community School. I had a great time there, all that type of stuff. I have no complaints. But I think that me and my friends and the people that I went to school with fell into the pool of low expectations.
Yeah.
I think fair to say.
Yeah.
The teachers didn't really expect that much from us. I was in the New Era scheme. Excuse me. The New Era scheme, which was a government, a really generous government scheme of getting people who have never been to college, and anyone in their family has ever been to college, and kind of giving them extra points to get into something that they wouldn't usually get into. So once I got into that, I think you remember, because you were kind of always in the background anyway. Once I got into that program,
Tell them what course you chose.
I did international business in Italian, through Italian, which didn't end well. But for my point is, I forgot you know all the details about this. Okay, so the point is that low expectation of, okay, they're saying, okay, because you're kind of poor, we don't expect you to do well in exams. So I go, okay, but then if you guys are going to get me in, I'll just quit school with 2 months to go and go play PlayStation in Donald Byrne's house. So that's what I did. Yeah. And I remember telling my mom, I'm quitting secondary school. I'm just going to do the Leaving Cert. I don't like going to actual classes anymore. And she wasn't too happy, but she says I was too big for her to do anything about it. So anyway, so that's I digress, but that's the reason why I want to do this podcast, because I want to there's 3 reasons. 1, to make myself better and you better, and us have a better life with that accountability system, where if I say I'm going to do something, do an experiment, not only do I have accountability to you, but also to the listeners out there, the 3 or 4 listeners that may or may not be listening right now. We'll have the accountability there. The second one is find a bit more of a tribe, people that we are on the same kind of what would you call it, wavelength. Keep it nautical with our sharks. Looking for a SharkPod, a pod of sharks.
Is that what it's called?
SharkPod. Yeah, it's not actually. I don't know what it's. They're kind of lone wolves of the sea. I believe. Anyway, so.
But I think I've always had a creative outlet with the art.
Yeah.
You haven't, I suppose, so that's what it is for you as well. A bit of a creative outlet. I think everybody should have one.
Yeah, I think as well.
Noticing that thing behind is falling down.
You can't see it in the video, so that's...
Okay, I'll edit that out.
Yeah.
It's gradually
coming down. Okay. So the creative outlet, even getting it up to this standard now where we have a audio visual, has been kind of fun for me to figure out.
That's actually going to fall down any second now. You might want to pause it.
I know. You can't even see that. I'm standing in front of it. Yeah. It's all good.
Okay.
So, and the guys at home listening on the dart or whatever, they won't even see it. Okay. But we'll fix that for next week. Let's put that on there's a few items that we're gonna have to iron out here. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be having lots and lots of interviews with people that are interesting. It's not going to be, like I said, and I don't know why we're picking on poor Brian O'Driscoll. He's done nothing but great things for this country, but we've heard if you come to SharkPod for a generic Brian O'Driscoll interview about what's happening at some tournament right now, where there's not going to be any takeaways, you've come to the wrong pod. This is going to be...
But if you want to learn about a guy who has his own takeaway business,
that's
boom. Where to find him.
That's exactly. SharkNation, are you listening to that?
Chippers are making a comeback, I think.
They're delicious. I don't understand why they ever went away. Yeah. I guess I noticed I don't know, these days, a lot of people are in the gym early in the morning.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's hurting the chippers.
Why? Because
I think that people now have apps on their phones that tell them how much calories are in a bag of chips, and it's like, I don't know if it's worth my whole day food.
Maybe they are doing well, we don't know.
Maybe they are. Exactly. That's the point. Yeah. We don't know anything about those little businesses. I'm living in Greystones here. There's so many little cafes and stuff like that. I'm like, how are these guys staying in business? So maybe I'll just knock in and figure out. We'll do some gonzo journalism.
Yeah.
As as we talked about before the podcast started. Okay. Okay, so why don't you tell the people a little bit about Mark Baker? Let's what do you do for a living? Because the droves of people watching this and listening, they won't know Mark, the real Mark. They might have seen you with Nationwide. They might have seen you with Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
They might have seen you with Mr. President Obama holding one of your sketches there.
Yeah, that's good for years. They're all a good few years ago now, but I'm still dining out on those.
Okay, so tell me, what do you do for a living?
Well, how far back would we go? Cabinteely as well. I went to Cabinteely school.
Holler.
I was always into art. I became probably into entrepreneurship through hanging around your house, speaking to you. Didn't come from an entrepreneurial family. Didn't know what I wanted to do in school, after school. Didn't really think art was a possibility, so I never really kind of looked into it. Not that there would have been anybody to talk to about a career in art. Guidance counselling wasn't great in the school. No offence to that guy, can't remember his name. But look, it wasn't.
I can't remember his name either, but he was
probably says a lot.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I was okay in school. I thought I could have got a decent amount of points, and then with the new era would have got a bit more. So I picked architecture. That combined, I suppose, it was high points and it was kind of arty. So that's why I just picked it. It was interesting. Went through the first round of the interview. Second round, they left a message for me on my phone. I never picked it up on the house phone.
Wow.
Going way back. So I didn't get architecture. Essentially, that's how I didn't get architecture. So second on the list was an arts degree.
Because it had the word arts in it. Was that
just going down through the alphabet.
Okay. Architecture, art.
Next was
Makes
banker,
sense.
which I actually kind of became after that.
Yeah.
So I picked history and Greek and Roman, like you do.
Yeah.
As you do, going to set the
Very
world
interesting. Not a lot of cash in that, but
no. My brother had the books already, I think, and it was just get that base degree, but 3-year base degree.
Let me just pause you there, because I think that's another Irish thing that people do. It's like it's like sometimes we're always looking for like just the handiest way. That's such a thing that I would do as well. I'm like, well, sure, my sister has the books already, just fucking do that.
Yeah.
But that's just such I think it's a really good snapshot of what you really shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Don't base your life decisions on just the handiest shit. What's actually near you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's such the wrong thing to do.
It's the wrong thing.
And I've done many kind of wrong things, and that's why but I didn't have to, not in a bad way. But but if it's the 18-year-old nowadays who is thinking the same thing, and they probably are, like, people still do that. There's different subjects you can do in art. It's probably economics or some sort of business or even a language. But anyway, history and Greek and Roman is what I taught, but it's like 3 years, get the 3 years done, have a base degree, and then go on and do something else.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't recommend anyone do that. It's a long 3 years when you're doing 12 hours a week as well. Like, it's not. So parallel to that, I was going to the gym a lot.
Yeah.
I got quite big because I had a lot of spare time in my hands.
Yeah. Holler. The blue collar holler. That's what we almost called the podcast. Didn't work out in the end.
So did that. got a 2-1. Then
there was an opportunity cost there, wasn't there? There was you had a 3-year. Okay, it took you 3 years to do. Okay, and I'm saying this because I've done courses and stuff like that when I was that age, and what I think what people don't get at the beginning of the course is that if you do a course like that and you say, oh, it's great, I'll do something afterwards, or, something, but we don't know what that is. I think that puts a strain on you, not having the vision, not having the goal of what you're doing. Then you sit there for 3 years anxious about what to do next. Do you know? I think people don't really buy into that. So when you're making a decision like you're saying, and not just about degrees or whatever, but in life, when you make a decision to say, okay, this is the safe thing, I can do that, this will lead to something better, I don't know what it is, but we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
I think that the anxiety of not knowing what you're going to do is crippling at that age. When you had everything you needed to do. Like, if you wanted to be an architect, nothing could have stopped you.
Well, the system stopped me.
But you could have went to Aberdeen,
Yeah.
but no one told you about that. I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah.
you could have went to
UCD or DIT.
you could have went to Stockholm. You could have went. They're all done in German. They're all done in English. You could have, and they have to take you if you use it. Do you know what I mean? No one's telling you that though. My point is. I don't know my point. No, my point is I think when
waiting around for
3 years, that anxiety gets in on you. That's what I think. If you don't have the vision.
Yeah, I've never been one to like wasting time as well.
Yeah.
Hence starting the podcast when I've a lot of other things going on.
A lot of things.
So if it was somebody doing it now, I would say, look, you've plenty of time to start a business in something that you're interested in, whether it's selling supplements, like legit supplements, for if you're into the gym or whatever. You can actually start a business while you're in college. Now, business isn't for everybody. Like, being an entrepreneur isn't for everybody. Some people listening probably aren't. They're just
listen, SharkNation. I don't know if that's I don't know where that's coming from. That's not what we discussed. No, we're just joking. Go on.
So where was I? So finished, but all during that period, from finishing sixth year to the 3 years in, I was drawing and painting and stuff like that, and then I got into a good gallery, the Green Gallery in Stevens Green Shopping Centre, where I still am.
I remember that. You were very excited at the time, and I used to love going and seeing I used to go up there, pay my 20p to get in to go pee up there, and
we were just in school, well, even before that, the last recession, we didn't notice it. We were too young to notice it, so all I kind of knew was do art, it sells, happy days. I don't have to get a real job almost. Not that that was an issue or anything, but so anyway, so I didn't get into. Did I mention I was going to be a teacher?
Yeah, you mentioned you were going to be a teacher, but that was kind of
Yeah, so again, I didn't get into that course, so because I hadn't got the teaching experience, so I became an artist for a year. So it was great, living the dream, just painting away and
was it a whole year that you did that?
Whole year, yeah.
Class.
Had a couple of exhibitions, and then towards the end of that, the recession kind of happened, and first thing people stopped buying was paintings,
lavish paintings from Mark Baker.
Yeah. So I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have to get a real job. So I said, if I can't do what I love doing, I'll do whatever gives you the best career. So I literally picked a solicitor or an accountant, tossed a coin, probably landed on solicitor, and I just saw the books involved, and I went, okay, I'll become an accountant. Yeah. Again, at the same time I was into business, I thought it's a great foundation to have. Again, put in 3 years, put in the 3 years, and then see what happens after that. Yeah. So I had another 3-year stint of, well, I didn't actually, I had to do a postgraduate diploma in accounting in DCU. Never done accounting before in my life. Had to go in there, essentially it's like 3 years into one, like a 3-year degree in one PDA. Yeah. Applied for that. Got it, did it, found it very tough, as you can imagine, especially after having a year off just painting, not looking at numbers, Yeah.
You've always been good at numbers, have you?
No, okay.
I was doing the annoying thing that Irish people do whenever you try something hard. They go, "Oh yeah, but you're great at that." So you're a numbers man.
Yeah,
no, yeah. I know what you mean.
So did that, and then I applied for, it's called a milk round. So when you become an accountant, the best thing, I always wanted to do the best that I could possibly do, no matter what I was doing. So accountancy was join a big four firm, Deloitte, EY, PwC, or KPMG. So did the interviews. I got the Deloitte one pretty quickly. I mean, that was in October as well, if you think about it. So I started the course in September. So October you start interviewing, and then you finish out the year. And
how did they do it? Did they ask you about accounts and stuff, and you're like, I've been doing this a month?
It was more like, you've kind of proved yourself to get into the course in the first place. So it's more like tell us about yourself.
Okay.
You know, nowadays it's quite hard because you have to have over 400 or 500 points probably to get an interview in the first place. There's a lot of other stipulations where I didn't have that, you know. So I basically I think I spoke about the artwork and the different background that I had, you know, to the interviewers. And they're probably just fed up of listening to, you know, normal kind of backgrounds, doing a BCom and...
Because it's a well-worn path, the accountancy firm. I say there's a lot of people that are very, like, similar going for those interviews.
There's a lot of different people as well that end up doing it as well. Like a lot of my course got into Deloitte. Deloitte seemed to be quite open, certainly back then. It's a different backgrounds, a lot of engineers, people with law backgrounds.
They must be disappointed being accountants after they wanted to be engineers. But during the recession, because a lot of my friends did engineering as well.
Yeah.
But like that must be, like, how do you go from engineer to accountant? It's a completely different thing. Like, why is there so many accountant engineers out there?
It's because you have to. Like, it's out of fear, almost, you know.
Okay, interesting.
That's
interesting theme that we'll dig into during the SharkPod.
Yeah. So, finished, I got the qualification and then therefore officially got the job. You know, they offer you the job with the condition that you pass. Got in, found it quite tough. You know, being an auditor, financial services auditor, again, didn't really know much about financial services, but it's that mentality. Just put your mind to it, work hard, you'll get through. But that was my career, and it was like, put your mind to it, work hard. You know, that shouldn't be the mentality for a career. You know, just get through it. It's worth it for what, the weekend. You know, so
bite down on the gum shield and just
but again, it was an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And all the while, in the background, I was still doing the artwork. I think on my induction day into Deloitte, I had a solo exhibition in town of my stuff. You know, so it goes to show that you can do something difficult, you know, and still have a passion in the background. It just takes, it's long nights, you know, but if you're into it, it shouldn't be an issue, you know. As long, and that's probably the key thing to doing a kind of side hustle, is to actually be passionate about it. Like, then it becomes easy. Then you get into a flow state, and time doesn't matter that it's 12 o'clock at night, you know, because you love what you do. So it's very hard. You don't want to do something that you don't like as a career, and then your side hustle, you also don't like it. You know what I mean? Just because it makes money. So yeah, I'm conscious this is long-winded, but it's from then I done a secondment in the banking sector, and I thought, you know, my 3 years training as an accountant is coming up. I liked that I was dealing with people. It was
in the banking.
It was more kind of relationship. It was people managing. It was like relationship management, managing people's accounts. You know, so it could be something on the cafe, and you know, maybe they couldn't meet their repayments. Did they have to restructure them? So you go out and you look at their, you know, their financials. So you're still getting to use the accountancy thing, but you're actually going to meet people. So I thought again I fell into that, and I just, because there was no guidance ever anywhere. It was slight bit of guidance into that, because one of the partners in Deloitte saw that I was maybe a little bit different, and I was more kind of into people side of things than number crunching, you know, which auditing can be. So did that for 3 years. Again, having the art, I had an exhibition in London for 2 weeks when I started.
I remember that.
Job.
I remember that actually.
Yeah. I had to fly over, I think, 3 times because I couldn't get the time off. So my solo exhibition, I had somebody running it, and then I'd come over for the opening midway through, and then the closing.
And at that time, did you think, okay, you know what, if this takes off in London, you know, I'll go on hiatus from the accounting at that stage? Was the accounting your safe bet? Is that what the game was here? You had, you know, at this stage, you know, well, at that stage, you probably, your family was kind of started.
Oh yeah, I think we were pregnant at the time. Yeah.
So, was that what the driving force of the accountancy thing? It was a safety?
Yeah, it was always a safety, and I do think that it makes things easier when you have a safety net. So you know, you know, we're all entrepreneurial here, like, but I am entrepreneurial. I do take risks. They're quite educated in that I do always have that kind of safety net. You know, where some entrepreneurs will just go and take the risks, and maybe they get the biggest rewards.
Yeah.
Because they do it quicker and bigger, whereas it took me probably till I was, 28, 20, or well, even into my 30s to actually become a proper entrepreneur, because I had to build that foundation. And you can build that foundation quite quick. I probably took a bit long to build that foundation. I probably didn't need to spend the 3 years in banking, to have that foundation. Anyway, so...
So the thing in London, how did that go? What was the result there?
I was an unknown entity.
Okay.
In a city with probably 100,000 artists. We were right in Covent Garden.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Barry, was helping me do it, and another guy in London, David. So we got a lot of footfall in there because of where it was, but we tried to promote it as much as we could. But I probably had a 2-week solo exhibition as an unknown entity. I probably should have went to London into a few galleries for 2 years, got the name out, and then proper buyers would be coming then to the solo exhibition to buy the pieces. Yeah. We broke even probably. We made a few quid, but it cost quite a lot. I can't remember how much it cost, but Jesus, could have been $8,000 or something to just rent the place for 2 weeks. Something really mad. Okay. I can't remember, but it was something mad. There was a few things that kind of could have gone better. I'd done this portrait of Boris Johnson cycling in the nip.
Towards some sort of exit of...
I think it was what at the time it was to become London mayor. Wow. Who knew that he would have become, so maybe I should...
It's interesting.
Kind of reuse that painting.
We've got a podcast coming up as well about opportunities around Brexit. We could get into a little segue in there. But because I always think I was sorry to cut across here, but I was on a trip. Recently I was on a business trip to one of the cities in Europe that I frequent, and a girl was with me from the Dublin office, and they the people that were with start asking about Brexit, and it just dawned on me when she was like, "Oh, it's the worst thing that's ever going to happen to Irish economy," it's I'm so worried about this. Everyone's worried in Ireland. I'm like, I think it's an incredible opportunity for Ireland. We can do, it's going to be, you can look at things half empty or half full, and the SharkPod's all about looking at those full glasses of opportunity, full fish tanks, yeah. So I'll do a thing on that as well. But let's fast forward to when you, because the people need to know what you're doing now and why. What happened in the interim between? Okay, you went to London. It was a moderate success, but it wasn't enough to say, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to do accounting anymore. I can just go all in on this.
Yeah.
When did you say, okay, maybe the art thing isn't going to be my main focus of entrepreneurship. I'm actually going to do something else. Was there a time when that kind of kicked in?
It was probably then. Actually, now that I think about it, it was probably then. It was that was a big push to give. You know, which is what more can you possibly do to push it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know,
especially as a side hustle. So, but all throughout my whole kind of, from as far as I can remember, I was quite entrepreneurial. So, underlying all my actions, I suppose, was a bit of an entrepreneurial flair. I would have tried to sell different things as a kid and stuff like that. So I suppose I was always looking for an avenue that I could work for myself, and I got a taste of it with the art for a year.
Yeah.
And once maybe if I never got that taste for the working for myself, I wouldn't have ever kind of kept trying to search for it.
So there was blood in the water. There was chum in the water for that. You had to taste blood. Yeah. Taste blood in the water. Okay.
Probably subconsciously as well.
A shark.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it back, and you wouldn't give it to me. I was like, trying to bring it in here.
Yeah, I was always moving forward.
We'll get off the theme soon enough.
So, it was 3 years into the kind of banking sector job, and I was actually finishing up getting redundancy, and I thought, what should I do next? I didn't really know. Again, not much guidance. Probably career guidance professionals are good people to go see, and I do recommend people go see them. You know,
I didn't even know they existed, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there's lots of them. Yeah,
Really?
some very good ones. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I went to spoke like you do. You speak to a friend, say, look, I'm looking to speak to a recruiter and just see what is out there. You know, so I spoke to a friend of mine, Andy, and he said, look, I met a very good guy, Niall Kelly, in a company called FK International. And he said he didn't try to sell me anything. You know, I was a bit suspicious of recruiters, as Irish people are. You know, they're just sales people. Not that wrong with sales, but like obviously, you know, they're gonna point you in any direction. You know, they're not really gonna listen to you. And I had a bad experience with one of the bigger companies.
So FK International is in a recruiting business.
Yeah, like a boutique financial, like finance recruiter, accounting and finance.
Okay.
So again, that's what was my background. I wasn't going to go to one of the big ones who do a bit of everything. I wanted to go, and Niall was a qualified accountant, and I liked that. I was like, oh, so he trained in a big four firm. He's doing that now. He knows my background. So I said I'd go, and Andy recommended him. So I said I'd go and see him. Sat down with him. Said, look, I don't know. I'm this, you know. I have the art background. I have the accountancy qualification. I like the people side of things. You know, I'm quite entrepreneurial. Why did you got me? And she basically said, not a lot. You know, like, and I was like, you're not trying to, you should be selling me something here, you know.
This is the first time you met Niall?
Yeah. So we had a chat, and all the while I was like, why are we just having a chat? He was getting to know me, and he wasn't trying to go in with the sell straight away, you know. And then I think we were talking about burritos, you know, the best burrito place. You know, at the time it was Mama's Revenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite an esoteric choice, isn't it? It's very anyway, so go on.
Boojum is my favourite at the moment, if you're wondering. So I had an honest chat with him, and he said, look, well, at the end of it he kind of said, look, do you ever think of something completely different? And I said, well, like what? And he said, like this. And I said, well, why do you do it? You know, and he told me, you know, all about it, and to have a think about it, and it seemed to tick a lot of the boxes for me. It was an avenue that I could be creative with the marketing side of digital marketing, help building websites, you know, advertising, digital marketing. I suppose his marketing is kind of digital marketing now. I could use the big thing was I put this effort into the qualification. A bit of a
sunk cost fallacy, perhaps.
Yeah, pretty much. But
holds a lot of people back, Mark.
I know, and I thought it was probably one of the hardest hurdles to get over to go into recruitment was to give up the accountancy qualification. But I actually, now that I do it, I know way more about accountancy now than I ever did. You know, because I was just doing one particular thing, audit and financial services. So, so that was getting to use the creative side, getting to use the relationship side. Obviously, you know, there's psychology to it as well. You know, I like that element of it. Still getting to use the accountancy. So it seemed to tick a lot of the boxes. So I went away and I had to think about it. Met him again. Met a few more people in the company. I think I still wasn't 100% on it, you know. But there's a few things that were making me think, you know, maybe it's a good industry, you know. Like this, if you're good at it, you can make a lot of money. You can, if you're ethical as well. I like the way they were ethical there, and they weren't just kind of throwing anything at you. So you can still kind of keep your ethics as well. And I think my landlord at the time owned a recruitment business, you know.
Okay. So that got the motors running ahead.
Yeah, again,
I'm the accountant here. Why am I renting from this guy? If a lot of accountants would see themselves as, you know, recruiting, you know, I've put all this time into accounting. Sure, recruiters kind of chase me a lot. You know, I don't know if this is something that I'd like to be doing, but then every month you're sending cash to this anonymous guy who's recruiting. So interesting.
Yeah. So again, like if I was a great accountant, I could go on and do great things in accountancy and finance, but I wasn't. I was just doing it for the sake of it. Yeah. So look, I like I do with everything. I researched it properly. I think I did like a 30-page analysis of all FK's competitors and you know, their websites, you know, their social media, you know, what I like about it, how I like to be approached as an accountant, you know, what I don't like, stuff like that. So, and I kind of presented it to the lads, and you know, I started there probably straight away after finishing my last job, getting redundancy. Started pretty quickly. 3 years into it, found I was I was quite good at it. Got on well with Niall. Two of us together kind of worked together quite closely, and then just I suppose one day we decided that we wanted to do our own thing.
Okay.
Which
So the guy who brought you in
yeah.
is now ready to get serious and go out on your own.
Yeah, you get to know people quite well when you work with them,
And I'm like, do you know, actually from this, because I've known you for 17 years, but I've never really knitted the timeline together.
Yeah.
As well as we just did there, and I think it's interesting that you're not messing around with these options. You're really giving them a go. It's like, I was there for 3 years, and then
a lot of 3 years.
A lot of 3 years since, like, for me. I kind of hopped around a bit. We'll come to that later on. But it's interesting that you really, if it's like you had a new apprenticeship. It's almost the same amount of time training as an accountant as training as a recruiter, which I thought was interesting because it's like you start not from scratch, but you started again, a new career.
It's hard to start again as well. I had 2 young kids at the time as well, but it's. I knew financially it was going to be okay. If what I liked about it was like the more you put in, the more you get out. So if I didn't do well in it financially, it was because I didn't work hard enough or smart enough. Whereas other jobs, it might be, you're not really in control of your destiny as much.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm excited. I know you pretty well, like I said, over the 17 years. But what I think there's 2 types of people in the world. Actually, there's more. There's 2 types of people. One is people who are happy and really look for a fixed income. They want to know exactly what's coming in every month. And then there's people who thrive on the idea that we might get more money or we might have a better life this time next year, right? And I think that way more. So although only a very small amount of people actually live in that a variable income world. Very, very few people live there, right? I live there. You're living there now. Since you become a recruiter full time, you've been in that. You don't know really what's going to happen next quarter, next year, whatever. And I think that way more people are like you and me, but they're in the prison of the fixed income. And for me, I always think fixed income for me is I have no interest in that whatsoever. I become very sad when I know what's coming in next month. I want to live in an exciting job. I want to live an exciting life, and I can't be excited if I know what's going to happen. It's like watching a football match where you've already seen the result. Do you know?
In a way, yeah. But sometimes you ever think, wouldn't it be nice to be happy with, what you're getting and you're content enough with that. But then you don't have to, you don't have to worry about, like I'm always thinking, what's the next thing I can do? I rarely switch off. Sometimes I think it might be nice to just switched off a lot of the time, just on autopilot a little bit. Because there's no risk in my life, but there's a lot of risk for going the other way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's pros and cons for both, but you're either like that or you're not. And I was not like that, clearly not like that me from a young age, probably because from growing up, my dad just, worked in the factory and worked in the pub, at the weekends and solid hard work, but it was extremely hard work, but it wasn't smart work, and I just thought, if I do that, that's what it gets me, and like you said, a comfortable life, but, I think I'd almost look at that and say, oh, that's option A, okay, I know what that is, I'm not particularly overwhelmed with that option, let's go and see the other option, which is endless, but it's endless both ways, up and down.
Yeah, but you can't. Most of the time, it's like endless to zero. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you mean? So I just don't know, because I've worked, and well, like I said, we'll get to my kind of story as well. But I've done the good, or not the good. What would you call it? I've done the well beaten path of doing exactly what I was supposed to do, and it led me to a career in financial services where it's a fixed income at kind of most levels that you could get to there, and I was deeply unhappy in that. Now, if you ask my wife, she says that it's like I'm being chased out the door in the morning. I'm getting up, I'm hunting, and I think that's what That's what I'm saying. I think more people are like us, but they fight that urge to go and hunt and kill
Yeah.
for their, for their meal. Like I remember like I've had some of the highest moments I've had in my life have been when I've done big deals, or I've got big checks for selling something, commission checks or something. I'm like, there's been times where I've called my wife when I got like, the actual check, and we're laughing down the phone. And also there's also some really lows, like like I've been in some dark places. End of month, 3 days left. But I actually like those as well, and we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
Because it's something that people miss out on. I'm feeling stuff at work every day.
Yeah.
Ups and downs.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to feel any downs.
Well, some people don't have the mental and emotional stability to take the knocks, and they might go crazy with the highs and start living lavishly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so it does take quite an even keel type person to be in a sales environment, which doesn't probably make sense.
If you're going to do it long term.
If you want to do it long term, yeah, you can go in and kill it and then be a mad person and kill it, and then lose everything. Do you know what I mean? So it probably is that kind of balanced person that is probably works most effectively in that environment. Like, me and Niall always say it's and especially having started a new business, which I'll go into, is it's not all the wins that keep you going. It's actually the ability to take the hits, the Rocky quote, take the hits and keep moving forward. Yeah. Like a shark.
Yeah, because sharks never stop, as you know. They sleep swimming.
Well, people think it's like the best salesperson is who's making the most commission or making the most sales. It's not. It's that person as well, but it's the one who doesn't fall off. And some people fall completely back into the other world because they can't take the knocks.
Yeah, and I see it in work. So for people that don't know me, I work in a big tech company from the States. Very, very sales focused. We've got an incredible sales team, probably the best sales team in Ireland, I would say, as an organisation, for the amount of new business that we do, the amount of deals that we do compared to like per person. I think it's really impressive. But there's a big churn rate of, not a big churn rate, but there's a churn rate of salespeople who I think could have what it takes to make it, but we bring on people that are such high achievers out of the Irish system. Of you've got whatever, like I said, 500, 600 points in your leaving cert. You got your first class honours degree, and now there's going to be variables. But it doesn't matter. You've worked hard this month and you still failed. And then I see it's like their world starts to collapse, and they become like this really when I've interviewed. So I've actually been in a situation where I've interviewed people for HubSpot. They've been hired, so I've seen what they were before they came in.
Yeah.
And after they've been hired, I've seen them fall apart, and emotionally, and say, then the blame game starts, and the blame game is something that Irish people love doing. Not just Irish. That's a generalization. Not just Irish people. So we hired people from all over Europe, America, wherever, but it's the product. The product's not great. My territory is not great. Or there's so many people already working here. There's no good accounts and stuff like that, right? Anytime that you do that, you're giving away your power to someone else, right? And if you can go to get to a point when you're like, if this doesn't work out, I'll just go do this somewhere else. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing. I think being okay with failure in sales is a good thing to have. And people, some really high achievers, they can't take those lows at all. Even a couple of lows. I think I could take I've had incredible months, incredible quarters. Had a fantastic year this year. Just success after success with sales. Started a new sales channel on HubSpot. Doing very well this year. But the year before, it was up and down, choppy, the whole year, right? But like on the last day of the month, if I've missed my quota or whatever, a lot of people are really upset around the organization when I'm walking around, and then the next day, when it's a new month, to me, it's like the last month never happened. I would never think about that.
Mm.
And I think we talked about this before, where I don't have the regret feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not a psychopath, but I don't. I regret nothing. I don't. When you say, when I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I really regret going here," or I shouldn't have done that degree. I don't have that feeling. I don't know what that feels like. So I think that being that way, where I only think about the future and now, I never think about the past really.
Why?
It's just too dark. And
No, I think it's another saying that myself and Niall always say now is win or learn, you know, and it's a famous enough saying. Like,
yeah.
You learn from the experiences. That's how you do. That's how you grow. How do you grow? Resistance.
Yeah.
You overcome it. Again, it's having that stability. That's why people need to work on themselves. You know, in the background of doing all the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, read the right books. You know, do meditation. Go to the gym. Do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you're able to take the knocks and learn from it and have no regrets.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a tiny bit of regret. I mean, in order to realize where you went wrong, but not regret as in like that's going to cripple you.
Because I've got friends like that where it's like it takes up a lot of space in their brain about. I wish I did this. I don't have that at all. But anyway, but I think that's just something to think about as well when you're going to
sales. There's an abundance of opportunity out there. If you stop thinking like a famine market, you know.
Yeah.
Well, then just go on to the next thing. You know, learn from that. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
You know,
there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah. Plenty of sharks too.
Plenty of sharks. So be careful. Be careful out there, guys. Is the main thing. Okay.
Where was it?
So you and Niall had just you'd been there for 3 years. You're like, you know what? You want to have a go at this yourself. A lot of awkwardness because you're going to go out against you're going to become a competitor to the person who's been keeping you employed. Always a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's recruiting or accounting or any of those kind of professions where you're going to be running a service. That's exactly what your a direct competitor of what you're doing is going to be awkward. So did you think about that before you actually took the plunge? Did you talk to your wife? What was the...
Yeah, well, you do all the normal things, but again, it's not a famine market. Like, and the recruitment industry might seem dog eat dog, but it's actually not. People do talk. You know, we talk to our competitors and have a chat about things because the best person wins.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of work out there. You know, there is you know, and if it's not in Ireland, you have to look elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? So it's not. If they get something, if they win something, you lose.
Yeah.
If they win something, you know, they just won something else. You know what I mean? So that's the way that's the right way of thinking anyway. So look, the fact is, it is a bit awkward, but you know, it's fine, and we still have a good relationship with Marcus and FK. And you know, there's legals involved that you don't go out straight away and work as a competitor. Like, that's fair enough, and we have them in our terms and conditions for people that work for us. So everybody stuck to their word, and had stayed kind of friends, and now technically we are competitors, but you know, we learn from each other as well still. We want to do things a little bit differently as well. Like, so that's, you're not just doing an exact carbon copy of something else. You know, the options then were, you know, do you bootstrap it? Do you do it from a bedroom?
This is going to be really interesting. I'm just going to plug in this computer real quick.
Yeah.
I think that might be better. Direct current. Okay, so this is where it really becomes interesting. Okay, because this is, for me as an observer of what's going on, from an outside perspective, this is going to really make the difference to the type of business that you're going to open. Because you've known me for a long time. I've had loads of ideas, like we said at the beginning. I've been maybe reluctant to put in, you know, skin in the game in a lot of these, right? I've never asked for money from anyone else for start a business. I've never got a loan for that. I look for investors in any of these ideas that I've had. If I did start a business, it was always very small scale, very hustling, never something that you could ever go full time on. So when you why don't you tell us about how that came about, how you decided to either bootstrap or go for the win?
Yeah, well, you map out your kind of your business plan, one versus the other, essentially, and that can apply to every business. You know, what's it look like? You know, 1 to 3 years and 1 to 5 years bootstrapping it, and what's it look like getting investment? Obviously, you give away part of your company. That's just the way it goes. You know, and so essentially, it's go big or go small, but it could be go big or go home. And I do think in recruitment in particular, some industries, it's kind of go big or go home.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of competition out there and there's a lot of big players as well. So in retrospect, looking back, I think it was the right idea to take investment.
Yeah. So many entrepreneurs are like, I don't want to give away any of this new business. I wanna sell this in 5 years and own 100%.
It's quite hard to give away part of a business that you don't have yet.
Yeah.
You know how we say that, like it was actually hard to give away something that didn't even exist. You know, so have it to anyone that's doing it. Do have a proper think about it, obviously. But I think I have kind of 3 parts to my, I suppose, business life or whatever you want to call it. Is the main career, which is what I'm doing with Darwin Hawkins, and that's the name of the recruitment company. I'll tell you why and how that came about. Then it's a creative outlet, you know, which is whether it's a podcast or the art, and then a side hustle, which is some sort of passive income. You know, whether it's renting out a property or whatever, Airbnb or something online.
Yeah.
But the side hustle is probably always going to be a side hustle, so you shouldn't really treat your career or your main entrepreneur, you know, business as a side hustle, because it'll probably stay a side hustle unless you just get lucky and something happens, you know. So if you're going to take on investment, you know, and you think you're good enough, and Niall, in my opinion, is probably the best recruiter I've ever seen, you know, and so I was happy to go into business with him, and he's a very good guy and stuff like that. So, and I was confident in myself, my ability, you know, the structure I'll put on things, and I couldn't wait to start my own business. So if you're going to take investment, why not ask for investment from the best in the business, which is James Kahn, from the Dragon's Den. People might know
Dragon's Den fame.
I didn't have to go on the Dragon's Den or anything like that, but you know, like everything, again going back like to what I said before, I sent an email, you know, I saw that he was looking to invest in Ireland, you know, and the company behind him that he invests with is called Recruitment Entrepreneur. So that's one of many things that he does. You know, so there's a portfolio that he invests in different recruitment companies, but he also invests in different things like apps and stuff like that. I think he invested in a doggy treadmill as well at one stage. So I suppose his people got back to us and said, look, be interested to have a chat with you, and look, we were going to do it anyway. We had actually planned to do it ourselves anyway, you know. And then said, look, we'll see what it looks like, you know, and then one thing led to another. I suppose you have chats about what you do, what they can bring to the table, and back and forth, and then, you know, before you know it, we're in London signing agreements and going for it.
And this all happened over a couple of months, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And for me, the biggest lesson here is that you get nothing if you don't reach out to people. I always think, what the fuck is the problem with people when they come in, so sometimes we take in people in HubSpot that are really early in their career, and the fear they have of reaching out to people, like either whether that's cold calling, whether that's like emailing, reaching out on LinkedIn, and our biggest problem with the new salespeople in HubSpot is that the activity level, and I never understood it. Maybe because I used to go fishing when I was a child, and now as a shark. So my point is, like, I don't understand, where does it come up from? Of you, it's an ego. Is where
do you know where it comes from?
Where does it come from?
It's fear
Catholic
of
Church.
being it's fear of being rejected by your clan. You know, that's where it comes from primarily, on a primal level. If you think about it, you know, say there's 300 people in your clan, and you do something that's embarrassing, you're shunned, and then you won't get a mate, and then you won't be able to reproduce and then carry on your genes. That's actually where it comes from on a primal level. Okay. So you're afraid.
I think I read that on the Darwin Hawkings blog.
So that's where it comes from, and so you almost have to, either there's something in your brain that makes you not fear at that level of rejection or embarrassment, or else you have to learn it. You know, and I probably learned it through trial and error and just having the hunger to go out and get more. You know.
But if you know what the facts are that nothing can really hurt you that can happen in that situation.
We're fighting against our genetics, though.
Okay, you think it goes deep.
Deep, yeah.
Okay.
But it can be learned. You can learn to overcome it, just like you can learn not to do crazy things that primarily you feel the urge to do sometimes. You know. So you can learn.
Because I feel it, right? When I'm, especially when I started this new part of our business, it was completely new. I have no website presence or anything on HubSpot. It's a new partnership program. It's completely new. I'm reaching out to people who've never heard about me in countries I've never been to, some of them, and I'm trying to get them to become partners with us, invest, up to millions of euro in this, in my vision, and they don't even know who I am, right? So when I call them, I was cold calling, I was emailing, I was going full court press. That's what I do. Massive action.
Yeah.
They're gonna. I want the people that I'm trying to reach. I want to be in their lives, regardless of what happens. Do you know what I mean? I want to be. They can't ignore it. I'm on the phone. They're going to talk to me or tell me to fuck off. Like that's how it's going to be. Not in an annoying way, but I'm only going after people who I know I can help anyway.
Yeah.
So, or we can work together, or at least with the information that I have, that are a good fit, right?
Yeah.
So I understand when they say no, or when they won't put me through to who I want to speak to, all that type of stuff. When they hang up, sometimes if people hang up on me, I feel that, it's like a little punch in the stomach. And the best thing you can do is to call someone immediately. Yeah. Call a customer. Yeah. Call somebody you have a relationship with. Get back on the phone. I see these younger salespeople, when they have a bad call, they stop, they complain to their friends about that. Marking, that's a bad lead, and all, like, instead of, I think it's something they don't teach it in schools, where you have to have a thick skin, and you have to reach out. You can't. So the result of all that is I've built this business from scratch, right, with 10 partners all over Europe and Middle East, Africa, right, and that came out of literally just reaching out to people. And we're going to make, we're going to sell millions of euro worth of software this year, or in 2020 with these guys, right? Yeah. And it literally just from reaching out to people. But people, like you said, you reached out to people when you were doing the art. You reached out to people when you're doing recruitment. That's a big activity thing. When you reach out to people for, like James Kahn, for investment. Like, I've told people that story, and they can't believe that you got that guy to write a check from Ireland, from your room in, Sallynoggin, so it's just something I thought I'd make a comment on, that people that are listening should be, okay, if you ever feel like you are afraid to reach out to people, you need to work on that skill, because that's what's holding you back, or that's one of the things that could be.
If you're afraid to do it, because of the consequences, where do you see the consequences of not doing it?
Yeah.
That's the way you have to think.
Wait till you get the bill for not reaching out.
Yeah.
That's a bigger bill than a little bit of embarrassment.
Yeah.
And there's ways of doing it where you leave the prospect, or leave the person you're trying to reach out to in a happy place. It doesn't have to be,
Sometimes people, they're just not built for it. And there's actually so much of a learning curve involved in it that maybe they shouldn't be in that job. People are in wrong jobs.
Yeah.
Often. So again, this isn't applying to everybody. We're just trying to explain what it takes if you want to keep moving forward and going up.
Yeah.
So where was I? So to go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when he was like, you were saying like that you guys said we're going to go do this anyway, but he was bringing a lot to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we have a lot of kind of background stuff, that's done, admin and invoicing and payroll, and that James's company brings. Advice, some great people in there to give us advice. They give us the confidence to do things. We're two confident people, but it is good having people who have done it before. Yeah. But again, it's our own. It's very hands off. It's our own thing. Everything we do is probably one way or another comes from mine or Niall's imagination. Like it's more just guidance or running something past somebody. So when it comes to the name, I suppose Darwin Hawkins is the name. I was looking up. I like Hawk, search, vision, that kind of thing, and that was taken. Hawk.com or whatever. I don't know where it was, but Darwin. I like Darwin, kind of origins, evolution, stuff like that, evolving in your career. And I think his nickname when he was younger was Charlie, and it was like Charles Darwin. He always thought that. He always had that in his head. Okay. So Darwin Hawk didn't really work, and then we just added the Hawkins. It was like the options when that's one of the hardest things to do is actually pick a name.
Yeah.
Like the one is to name it after yourselves. Baker O'Kelly Baker. Again, there'd be probably a bit of an argument there.
Yeah.
I think that sounds like an accountancy firm.
Yeah.
And if you're
O'Kelly Baker Kahn. It really does sound like a solicitor.
Yeah, it kind of does. I wanted so we didn't kind of want that, and the other option is to go with the imagery route, like Apple, Shark, that type of thing. So that was the Hawk, or do you go with a kind of a name that sounds established, like the double barrel name, posh name type of thing.
Yeah, then there's also those weird ones as well, like recruiters.ie or something. And there's one of those around. I think do you know those ones that are CPL? It's always bad. I never understand what's that about.
That probably stands for something.
Probably.
Yeah. Or the initials route, but we call ourselves DH a lot,
Yeah.
So Darwin Hawkins, and while I was looking up Hawk, actually that's how I saw that James was looking to invest in Ireland, is because I saw the guys Hayward Hawk in Belfast.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they're a tech recruitment company, and within 3 years they're one of the biggest tech recruitment companies in Belfast and Northern Ireland. And we were just thinking, I was looking at their story, and you could see it through their Instagram, through their website and articles and stuff, and I just thought like it looked like they were doing well, and so that's actually kind of made me think going down that route. And then look, we got to know them quite well, and actually they're really good guys as well.
Interesting. And tell me let's while we're talking about names and why this is so shark oriented. So just to give the listeners some context around that, it's not that this podcast is going to be just about either natural history or Shark Week or any type of I mean, we might talk about our favorite sharks. Mine's the Zambezi. He'll go up the river. He doesn't give a fuck. He'll come at you. Anyway, so we can talk about the Zambezi shark if you want to do, but it really came from shark.ie. So if you go to shark.ie right now, you would see a recruitment website that I started a few years ago. And then shark.ie was such a good URL, I didn't want to give it up, so I've just been holding on to it like real estate. So when we were starting this podcast, we thought SharkPod sounded pretty cool, so now shark.ie was going to be the new podcast website. It's going to have all of our information about upcoming guests. It's going to be where you can download directly or listen directly for the podcast if you wish. It's going to also be available obviously on Spotify, the podcast app, all that type of stuff, iTunes. So just a little segue there. So that kind of brings me up to the present day, where you've been going for a year and I guess 2 months or something like that. I mean, why don't we jump into your looking back on your kind of greatest hits 2019 from a business point of view?
I suppose
what was the biggest learnings?
Loads of learnings, and I expect 2020 to be the same, but huge amount when you're starting essentially from scratch. No clients, no candidates, no nothing.
No clients. How many clients do you have now?
Over 150, I think.
Boom, SharkNation. 150 clients from zero in just over a year.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things is to get the momentum going, and that's why I suppose being prepared, whether it's financially, structurally, at the start, it's important, because the first few months are gonna be tough, in all ways. It's a lot of hard work, but you have to be careful with cash flow and stuff like that, like any business.
But you were saying earlier, you said I've never done anything without a safety net. This seems like it was pretty much all in.
What would be the safety? Well, the safety net is.
So my point is, it's
like
not that. I think there's a inconsistency there. The point is, your level of success has gone way up since you've taken out that safety net.
That's true. Yeah.
Just a little bit of
It could have gone
perspective
way
there.
down though as well. Like,
It could have.
you know, but the option, like if it goes, if you're starting a business and it goes wrong, you know, just you can always get a job.
Always, yeah.
But especially
You can always deliver Chinese food, as me and Mark both
yeah,
did as
and
teenagers.
I did actually during the recession when I was. I always kept that actually during
Slanging
the
them
year.
chips. I like it.
During the year as an artist, I always, again, had that little safety net of, because you're selling paintings, you could sell 3 paintings 1 week and you could sell none for a month, you know.
Yeah.
So I always kept the Tuesday night, Young's Chinese, Dunleary, you know.
Shout out to Mr. Young.
You make 70 to 100 quid doing your Chinese. So
Yeah.
look, I suppose to alleviate the risk is you can always go into something else.
Yeah,
know?
and you know that if the accountancy thing, you can do an account anytime you want, right?
Yeah, as I was saying, I took risks, but I built up. Like I wouldn't tell someone just don't go to college. Because it's easy to say that when you've gone to college and you've done 3 years, you have that base degree. Whether you agree with it has value or not, it does have value.
You know, we're gonna get one of my favorite people in here, one of my lecturers from college. I'd love to get his take on this, because for someone I spent 5 years in college, and I'm going all in on this.
Yeah.
I don't think you should go.
Okay, interesting.
So,
and those cameras are shaking.
Oh, sorry about that. But I think the world it's moved on too much, and I don't understand what writing essays does for your income. We can go into that. That's a big thing that we can go into.
Yeah.
That's week 3, SharkPod. So stay tuned. Okay, so say if you had top 3 biggest learnings of 2019 for business, what are they?
It would be relationships are key.
Nice.
It's not something, say you're starting a business day one, it's not something you go, right, relationships are key, I'm gonna maintain relationships, gonna create relationships. It's not something you can kind of just start from day one. You have your whole life you have to be doing that. Don't burn bridges anywhere. You know, I never did. Be nice to everyone. That's a good advice, you know, unless they're very bad people, just avoid them, you know. But relationships, personal relationships, professional relationships, family relationships, every relationship counts. Whether it's having support at home from your friends, whether it's working with clients that you worked with before, candidates, from a prospective candidates, make sure you treated them well, and we always did. Years gone by, the 3 years prior, it all stands to you. It all compounds towards, you know, a solid reputation. So relationships, key.
That's such a key thing in recruitment. It's got to be, because you're playing the long game there, where you're gonna have candidates. They might need a new job 10 years from now. You want to be the one that they're giving that call to, right?
Yeah.
But I think it might be not difficult, but I could be tempted into. I think if I was a recruiter, I could be tempted if I'm too focused on the numbers and placing people and stuff. It's a tempting thing to say, kind of sell them a bit of a job that maybe they didn't really want to, because you can sell the dream, sell the positive future. I think I might find that difficult not to do that sometimes, but it's a very important thing. Right? So relationship building in the now, in the future as well.
Yeah.
But what's number 2?
And I haven't rehearsed any of this now, so
I know.
I think
No,
reputation. I suppose it's correlated to relationship building, but I would say staying true, knowing your ethics well, you know what I mean, and staying true to your ethics and the plan, no matter what comes at you. Kind of
don't deviate.
If you put enough effort in and you've ran it by enough people and you're happy with your plan, obviously sometimes you have to pivot, you know, but don't pivot straight away. Do you know what I mean? There's a few little things that I looked at when we started that I kind of took my eye off the ball a little bit, looking maybe too far internationally, when we should just focus on what's in front of you. In the Dublin market, it's big enough, it's huge. Yeah. So stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan.
Even when it seems like there's opportunity elsewhere, or maybe there's not as much opportunity in front of you, stick to the plan. And confidence, I suppose, in your own plan and ability. So plan well. So relationships. What was I saying there?
So relationships, reputation, planning.
Yeah.
Sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
I like it. Because that's a difficult thing to do as well, sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
Because the grass is always greener. It's 2 months in. You've got a couple of clients. Clients are whinging. Maybe somebody didn't send the check straight away, and you're like, you know what? Fuck this plan. let's go do something else.
And again, that applies to every business.
Yeah, or
But that's what's good having
everything in life. You could say that about your relationships with your significant other. You could say that with your workout plan, diet plan, whatever. You have one bad weekend, and you're like, even with a partner or something, and you're saying, fuck this, I'm moving on. Try something new, and it's those people who are always chopping and changing. I know it's very, very popular right now in the tech world to be like, pivoting's good and stuff. I think pivoting is okay, but you got to make sure that you've exhausted the plan that you've committed to first before you actually move on. That's my opinion.
I think to provide value in anything, you have to be an expert in it, or very good at it, or well knowledgeable in it. Like a thought leader and something will usually do quite well. So that's why you probably see I give 3 years towards everything.
Yeah.
And then if it's not for me, you move on. But you certainly give it a go. I suppose who you're going into business is important as well.
Yeah.
And you see them more than your family,
Yeah.
And you go through ups and downs and stuff like that. So, shout out to Niall, who's the best probably business partner I could hope for.
Big up, Niall O'Kelly. So what else? Okay, so we've kind of come up to present day now, right? So that's 2019's in the can. That's gone. There's nothing we can do about it now. I'm not going to worry about it, like we said anyway. I have no interest in 2019. I'm looking forward to 2020. You were there on my wedding day. I gave my speech. Best man. Yeah, the best man. I told you that every year my life gets better and better, and that's like it's something that I say to myself all the time. And when I say that to people, they think that like I'm doing something like the Secret or something. But I'm just stating a pattern.
Yeah.
And it's not just that it's getting better; it's because I'm getting better. I'm becoming more grown up. I'm becoming, more happy in my life every single year. I'm setting big goals. We sat in 2018 around this time, worked out our goals for the year. We'll go through some of them in a little bit, see how they went. But the life's going to get better and better every year. I think if everyone had that outlook, regardless of Brexit, regardless of a shitty sales quarter or something, if you always really believe it's going to get better and have that optimism, I think it can only stand to you. It can't. I'm never going to go when it's not. If 2020 is not a good year, I'm not going to go. Fuck,
Yeah.
I said it was going to be good. What the fuck? No, I didn't. No. So my point is, what's in store for 2020? Should we break into some goals, or you wanna?
For the two of us.
Yeah. What do we?
We've talked about me for a good while. I know the first episode we said we'd kind of talk about one and then we talk about the other. So maybe episode 2 we talk about a bit more your background. So that, in a nutshell, that's me. Do you mean the plans for the podcast?
Well, yeah, we can talk about like so. Maybe I'll go first with the plans for 2020.
Yeah.
Right. So podcast is going to be a big part of it, to be honest. So when I'm thinking about breaking into 2020, having a look at 2019 was a banner year for the Currys. 2019 was good to the Currys. All right. But the Currys are just me and my wife. Well, and my broader family. I think it was a good year.
Yeah.
So when we look at from a income point of view, we sat in the coffee shop last year, and I shared with you what I thought would be a really good year for me income wise. And I remember you thinking it was a little bit ambitious, and you said, I'd like to see some planning around that. But the good news. That was my elbow thing. Oh, sorry about that. So, the good news is I did pretty well when it comes to that. So I got about 93% of what that top number was, which was a great year for me. Way more than I've ever made in the past. Good sales numbers, all that type of stuff. So I was delighted with that. I track my net worth, for want of a better word. So that's cash, stock, property, whatever, in a sheet that I update every month. And it's only gone up about 6% this year.
Mhm.
All right. So I think we into 2020 we really want to be looking at more of that kind of 10% range at least. All right. So 10% is what I'm going to be kind of focused on driving. I think there's a few reasons why it wasn't a crazy bumper year when it comes to actually, bumping up that net worth or net wealth, whatever. I think buying the house is a big hit, or it's probably the biggest thing that we'll ever buy. And it's actually one of the best things of the year. Last February we bought a house in Greystones it was the house that me and Katie had planned to get when we were 17. A red brick house, top of the hill, sea views. We made this in our mind. It was like we invented it. It's very strange. I'm getting a little bit secrety of this thing, a little bit of putting it out to the universe or whatever. But maybe that works. I don't know.
Maybe it does.
I'm here now. Anyway, so my point is, I want to up that to like every year getting at least 10%, and that's kind of compounding, right? So how we do that is either not buy big ticket items when it comes to like property and stuff this year, which I don't plan to do, and also add a little bit more income on the side, because one of the biggest things that I'm a believer in is that you can have as much as you want. So it's not this is something that I don't know who told me this. It could have been Grant Cardone, it could have been something that I came up with, unlikely, and it could have been a girl I work with from Norway who told me this. I don't know if I'd said it to her first, but it's something that we say to each other, is that it's not a price problem, it's an income problem.
Grant Cardone.
Was it Grant? I thought it was her. I knew it wasn't me anyway. So it's a total income problem. So I just got to work on my income.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that through the podcast. My second goal for the year. So that's the first one, to make sure that we're heading in the right direction with the kind of net worth, for want of a better word. The second one is the podcast. I want to get to a point where we have to, I'm not sure what the metrics are yet, because maybe with your art you could fill me in here. But I think what's a successful social media following from should we do a download thing? So say 10,000 SharkPod downloads for the year. Would that be a success? Is that too small? What do you think?
I don't know any reference points, and again, this is the first time I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I almost wouldn't worry too much about them, but I suppose you have to kind of, if you don't calculate, you're not going to see any results. You know, you need to. I don't know how many downloads. We have to do a bit more research
on that. Okay, maybe next week we can really nail down the figures, but I'll just give you some overview about what I want to do. So I want to have a successful podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And actually getting this online is a big win.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
I
think social media followers is easier to calculate what's good. Because that's a lot of views are going to come through there, and But anyway, go.
Okay. So travel is going to be a big thing. It's always been a big thing in my life, right? For the listeners out there, me and Mark, a long time ago now, we got Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, for each other for Christmas, randomly. So
that happens a lot.
Yeah, we love that book, and we, it was had a big influence on me. But so one of the big things about that book is taking mini retirements to go off and travel the world and enjoy yourself now, rather than waiting and deferring that travel time for when you're 65 or 70 or whatever.
Yeah.
But his whole book was, make sure that you have passive income coming in before you take those big breaks. And what I did was I just took those breaks anyway. I said, fuck it, I'm going. So I've taken 2 kind of extended travel breaks in the last, say, 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's been great. So my goal for 2020 is to get to 50 countries. So I'm on 44. So a lot of the countries that are easy to get to I've been to, so I'm gonna have to work on that. But I've got a plan where I'll hit most of that within work.
Yeah. So
it should be okay. When it comes to like physically what I want to do, last year we talked about kind of giving a weight, goal for last year. My weight goal last year was 91 kilos. So right now I'm about 94, 95, something like that. Just before Halloween, we did a sober October, and I was 103 or something. Things are getting a little bit crazy, you know. I don't know what happened. I've got this. I don't know if it's genetics or if it's whatever, but it makes I think when I'm 50, I may look like a stump. I'm not sure. We've talked about this before, but my point is, I think maybe aiming for that this year, maybe like 92 kilos. Let's call it 92. That's how heavy I was when I left for my long-term travel thing. Oh, sorry. My long-term travel thing 4 years ago. So I think that's a nice one to do. Also, when I was kickboxing, I used to fight at 94 kilos, so something around there.
Yeah.
So maybe this time next year, no more than 92.
Yeah, fighting weight.
Yeah, fighting weight. Exactly. So that's kind of for the body. For the people at home that don't have no idea about this, I was born in Canada and I was exempt from learning Irish at school completely. So I never had any Irish tuition. So
it's probably not. Your knowledge probably wasn't too far off us, the rest of us anyway.
Yeah, because it's badly taught. Let's say you do a fucking maths test right now, the higher level maths paper, and see how well that's all been retained. But so I started learning Irish about a year ago, and that was one of my goals for 2019. When I spoke to you, one of the goals was to go to the Gaeltacht for a week. So I did that. Spoke Irish exclusively for a whole week, which was a big deal for me. So this year I've got 2 Irish goals. One is to read Dracula in Irish. I've got that here. It's incredibly difficult.
Okay.
So to actually get through that and read that. And the second goal there is to have a 15-minute conversation with somebody who doesn't know I started learning when I was 30, right?
Yeah.
So this is something I've been kind of planning, right?
Yeah.
So there's a few ways we can do this. One, I can set up a online meeting with like a Irish teacher online. There's loads of them. It's called italki, italki.com.
Yeah.
And you can set up like a Skype call with those guys. I'll record it and I'll talk to them as if I'm someone who's just looking to brush up, or I'm going to be a teacher going to training or something like that. And I want to have a 15-minute conversation with those guys.
Yeah.
And never mention that I'm only learning, because what I've done now in all these courses I go into, I get a little bit of a kick out of going, and it's like, oh, you guys had 15 years, so I just started and I'm as good as you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's me using that as a crutch, and it's like, it's an opting out.
Yeah.
I want them to take it easy on me.
Yeah.
That's what it's actually happening there. So I'm going to do the 15-minute conversation with somebody who doesn't know me, and afterward I'm gonna record it, and afterwards we're gonna post to the YouTube channel with subtitles for our international and national friends, and so I think I think that's a good idea.
And you're gonna do it live on the podcast?
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, we can do it. We can do it live on the. We could do it live on the podcast.
Yeah, so you don't cheat.
Oh, okay, so we could do that, and then you could pick the person off italki. So I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
We could set that. We could do a live stream.
Yeah. That camera's shaking.
Sorry.
Watch the elbow.
Okay. Yeah. So another one of the biggest things I want to do this year is really get that the passive income going. So for people that are listening that don't know you as well, you've got a t-shirt empire that you've been kind of cultivating on the side on Amazon merch.
I wouldn't say empire just yet, but
yeah.
With my artwork, it was like, I was thinking, how do I? There's a lot of hours goes into a painting, so it's like, how do I get the artwork to work for me? That's the only way you can really scale an art business, and it was prints, obviously prints, canvas prints, like the guy behind me there. That's
is that for sale, Mark?
It is. If you go to markbakerart.com, you can get there's limited edition 200 of those. Another thing was t-shirts, and I got to through Shopify. There's what's the elbow there? That's shaking again. There's trial and error here.
Yeah.
There's a you can sync in the likes of Printful, which is like a print on demand company, I suppose you'd call it, which syncs into your Shopify, so it generates an image of the t-shirt or whatever it is, and you obviously can do mock-up. So all the clothing that on markbakerart.com as well, it doesn't exist until you actually purchase it. And then in the background, Printful with all their, thousands of printers, they print it, they ship it, and you get the commission or the difference, from what it costs you or them to do it. So then I realized, again, I used to do a lot of podcasts on kind of entrepreneurship and different ways of passive income, just as a side thing. I heard about Amazon print on demand. It's hard to get traffic to your website. That's always going to be an issue. That's one of the hardest things to do. Maybe that's something we can look at as a mini challenge. How do you generate traffic? Like the big guys are taking up everything. They're eating all the traffic. Everyone's just gone to Amazon now. It's really getting ginormous. So it's kind of like, if you can't beat them, well, try beat them, but if you also join them, if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't
that. I like that strategy.
Do it anyway, and then join them.
Yeah.
So you can essentially Merch by Amazon is a way of uploading your designs, and again, you don't have to be an artist. You can just be text designs. It can be anything. Upload them onto the system, and it puts them onto different, whether it's a hoodie or a t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt or pop sockets for your phone. And then
just love that word, pop socket. I don't know, it sounds dirty.
They work, they're good. I don't actually have any, but so people, obviously Amazon, the platform is got huge traffic, but it's not you, it's you are Amazon, it's
they're selling it on
your
your
behalf. There's no market. So it's passive income. It's a numbers game. The more you have up, the more commission you're going to get on each one. So I got you to sign up for it. It's going well. Get it. Kim does a lot of it, because obviously I'm busy. But it's something that a partner can do, and if they have spare time, or you can even outsource it to a virtual assistant. Even it's something you can actually outsource. So obviously I got you to sign up and give it a go, and you never really did anything with it. The hardest thing is actually to get approved these days. You got approved, so there's an asset sitting in your on your computer there, and you're not really using it. So
why not? Let's get cracking here.
So why not?
So let's see what's like I said, it's one of the things we've put a lot of preparation into this podcast. It may not seem like it to the listeners, but we've really put a lot of effort in here. And one of the things is we're going to be interviewing people. We've got a list of things that we want to know what their thoughts are on this. So maybe just to share what I think would be I would need a certain amount just to stop my actual job and focus on a side business, take it to the next level. I don't think I'll be able to get there doing it on the side, right? So we had to pick a number where it's going to be a success or fail mark, right?
Yeah.
So we've got 12 months to the end of 2020. So we were thinking $2,000. It was like $2,000 a month coming in from t-shirts for me.
Yeah, euros.
Or euros, yeah.
Yeah.
I was always thinking of dollars.
Yeah.
Got dollars on the brain. With the Canadian way. But so why don't we? It's 2K. Do you?
There's people. Look, essentially, there's people. It's something. Again, it's something that you get out of it, what you put into it.
Yeah.
Are people going? Straight into it and doing it as a job? No, they're not. It is a side hustle. Do you know what I mean? It is. It very much is the definition of them. But there's people making 20 quid a month, and there's people making 10,000 quid a month.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So, are the 10,000 a month? Is there many of them? Probably less than 1%.
Yeah.
But in between there's it's possible. It's got to be hard work.
Yeah. There's nothing stopping you though. If you I'm saying 2K. I'm not saying 2K average for the year. Let's say 2K
for the
snapshot of what's happening in December.
Yeah, December. Yeah, by the end of this time next year, you want to have made $2,000 passively from Amazon in December. Yeah. For the month of December.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, it's going to take a while to get there. And December
hockey stick. That's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
December, through the roof.
Yeah.
I go tell HubSpot, keep your fucking job. Stuff it up your hole. Only joking, Ed. That's my boss. Great guy. Great guy. I really we might actually get him on here. He'd be great crack.
Yeah.
Loads and loads of experience in the sales game.
I think a lot of people think they know tech, or they like to say tech, the word tech, but they don't actually know what what is tech, and what jobs people do in tech.
Yeah.
You know.
So what I'd like to do is actually, I told you I've got a plan for a 17-year-old if they want to be making huge money when they're 30, way more money than I've ever made. I've got a plan for them. That's an alternative thing to going to college. We could roll that out one day. I could have that as an alternative we can sit here somebody with from college or something, and then I'll say what I think they should do, and if I want them to go, yeah, you're right, do that.
And I'll play devil's advocate and I'll say maybe you should go to college and get that base degree.
Yeah, exactly. So that'd be interesting. I can't wait to get going on this. Yeah. Okay, so they're my goals. So we've got money. We've got like a hobby with the Irish stuff. We've got a body weight thing as well, so I can make sure that I'm staying healthy. I've got travel, got the podcast, got the side hustle. Like we're I think that's a good place to be when it comes to when it comes to goals for 2020. Yeah. And I like loads of stuff's going to happen that's going to be good anyway. Like I said, it gets better every year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But what's on the menu for the big guy over there? For the baker. The baker. What's he got in his oven?
The baker's menu. Number one will always be most important is Darwin Hawkins, and that's the career. That's the business. That's 99% of my focus.
Yeah. It's funny that's become your safety net, weirdly enough. Like that's your main thing. Like,
yeah. So. Well, the hardest thing is getting up and running in anything. So I suppose. So next year, I suppose we have our own, plans, which are personal, but again, more of the same. We did a lot of good things this year, so compounding on that. Yeah. Hiring more staff. We already have more staff joining us soon. Yeah.
Is that the key to recruitment? Do you have to have bums in seats? I don't know.
Yes and no. You can go too big too quick. It's like anything. Yeah. Again, there's no right answer. You know, the right people, 10 right people. Yeah, absolutely. But you have to do it at the right stage. So there's a lot of planning behind. So it's not just get 10 people in and recruit. You have to have the work there as well for them. Yeah. And the right work. So yeah, I suppose just continue as we're going, I suppose, and hit our targets, and so that is kind of there's loads of different ways of measuring that, but I suppose I'll know if it's going the right way, and that's just an obvious one that I'll be doing, but probably won't be talking about it as much as the other things, but probably when people ask me how am I getting on, they always mention the art, no matter what I'm doing. I could have been doing anything, and they say, oh, you haven't been doing many paintings. People.
It's just so interesting to people who can't draw anything.
Maybe
like
that's
me.
It, yeah.
And it's also like we've talked about that before, about how when you don't have an obvious talent, like a lot of people, it's so interesting to say, okay, why you just do the art thing, but it's not that simple.
No, it's not that simple. No, and I actually don't. Talent is another thing. I don't necessarily believe in talent. I think it's a combination of a few different things. Yeah. That ends up looking like talent. For the art, I think I need to paint more. I listed out my goals, last year, and I don't think I hit any of the art ones.
Really?
And it was to do like a couple of paintings a month, and then culminate in an exhibition. So maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should, every 2 weeks, I have to bring a painting in here and say, this is the one I've done, and then I have an exhibition in maybe November.
That'd be cool.
I just think people are more likely to spend money in November.
Also, it gives us enough time to really kind of, get a bit of a following on this podcast, get those people there as well. Because I think if we can, this is the brainchild of that. Mm-hmm. And then if we can tie that into our listeners actually going to an event in November, it'd be great.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. I think that would probably give me 20 pieces, maybe 20 pieces new paintings. What else I've written down a couple of things.
So the paintings, so we're nailing down at least 12 new paintings for the year. Yeah. And a exhibition.
That's harder than it seems. That might, but they take me ages. I've a bit of a perfectionist thing that maybe I have to get rid of a little bit.
Yeah, I need to rub off on you on that. Yeah. Good enough is good enough for me.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, my say a painting that took me, a month isn't necessarily as popular as one that took me 3 days. So I don't know.
I'll see. Okay. I like that one though.
The theme of the exhibition is important to have. I don't know what the theme will be. Maybe we can have a think about that at the next podcast.
Maybe people can send in suggestions to Luke at shark.ie and into the mail bag, and we'll dig in.
Could be famous Irish people. Could be historical Irish people. Could be, sporting Irish people. Again, it's going to be portraits. It could be GAA. Could be golf. Whatever. So, and maybe the goal would be to get each of those subjects, if they're alive, to sign a print for a charity, and then part of it is we do a charity auction all the time prints. So.
Yeah, and we can have a euro amount that we're.
That's shaking.
That's my foot. We can have the amount of, like a dollar amount or euro amount for how much would be good to generate or something.
Yeah, like I tried to do, one or two kind of big, charity, auctions or whatever, like the Shane Lowry earlier on in the year.
Yeah.
We raised some money for Ronald McDonald House. So I was trying to think what's a big, like that's a challenge, but it's quite controllable, that challenge. So I thought, what's something big that's might be quite difficult to do, I really have to stretch myself to achieve. I was thinking, I've always wanted to get on the Late Late Show.
Yes, now we're talking SharkNation. Let's get after it. If you're on the fucking Late Late Show, you've gone as far as you can go in Ireland. I'm sorry. That's how it works still.
That was the pinnacle 10 years ago. I never got on it. Never tried hard, but I got on a few different shows.
How could we get on? Oh god, that's what I love. This is why we at SharkPod, where we're trying to set big goals. My goals were all a little bit like, it's gonna be fun. That's exciting. I'd love to see you there. I'll be there, with I don't know, Geraldine or something sitting there. Geraldine's my mother. We'll be there sitting in the crowd. But okay. We're gonna have to dig into that one on next week's SharkPod. We're gonna dig into how we're gonna make this a reality, because the machinery is what's gonna make that happen. It's not gonna be like, you're not gonna pull that bullshit I was talking about a minute ago with the secret where I want to just keep on writing down I'm gonna be on the Late Late Show. It's not gonna happen. So let's get Ryan Tuberty. I know he fills up his gas on Roachtown Avenue because I used to work in Texaco when I was in college. So holler at your boy. Anyway.
What else have I got?
I like that one.
I was thinking making a book of all the paintings at the end of it, maybe. Again,
you can make a book, but if we're gonna make a book, let's make a book and get it on the Hodges and Figs top 20.
Yeah, it's quite hard with art though. It's a coffee table book.
So it's not gonna. Yeah.
And again, these are just ideas. And look, if some of them work, some of them work. Others were get a painting into the White House.
Could we
again?
Round 2, a Trump inauguration, part 2. But I'm just thinking now, how do we get your book to into the kind of stratosphere there? Make it a collaboration with a charity thing for Christmas next year.
Yeah, potentially.
You could potentially do that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I like that idea though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Or just pump a lot of money into it and buy a lot of your own books.
Buy loads of your own books. Sometimes you got SharkNation, sometimes you've got to take the bull by the horns. Or the shark by the fin. It's the bull shark.
Meet Bono.
It's so... Oh my god. It's so funny that you've never met him at all of these gala artsy stuff that you've been at. He loves all that shit, I'd say. Like, do you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun. I've never met Bono either. For those guys who are, well, I suppose pretty obvious with the thing behind you there, but we've been big fans. Not so much lately of the later stuff.
Just in case he's listening, that's great, really great.
No, but I don't know. I don't listen to as much music as I used to.
No.
But Octung Baby, Pop. When I was 14, I think Mark burnt loads of CDs illegally, um, and sent them out. Sent every album. I don't know how long that must have took you back then.
I don't know.
With your Dell
yeah.
computer. Or whatever. So, sorry, just there we go. You've been out of focus there, my friend. So we've never met Bono, so if we'd like to meet Bono, that would be pretty cool as well. I mean, that should be easy. He drinks on Thursdays in the Queens and the Hockey. We can go do that this Thursday.
No, but I mean, on a level that it's not kind of doorstepping him.
All right.
Otherwise, I just camp outside his house.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's something random that I was thinking that something I'd never got to do, and you would all the paintings that I'd done in the past.
Yeah.
You thought like I've met The Edge, I've met a few of the guys.
Yeah.
So again, I could just throwing it out there.
No, I like it.
I've always wanted to do a kind of like a master class of teaching people how to paint. Like maybe a 2-day master class type of thing.
Yeah.
Again,
maybe online learning.
Yeah.
Could be a way to do it.
I don't know. Maybe we might discuss that further. Where do you have the exhibition? I was thinking, do you just have it in Dublin, or do you, because it's Irish, or do you have it in New York, or do you go really big, or again that's probably a lot of effort, you know, probably too much going on to kind of go that big. But again, it was just something where I'd written down. Publish a book is a big thing that I wanted to do, and I've done that. I've done a manuscript on how to be a best man after being a best man a few times.
Yeah, he believes he did a great job. I think he did a great job as well, but it seems like he really went all in on that.
It was just the same speech, changed the names.
Yeah, we can put up your speech at my wedding if you want it on the YouTube channel, and people can judge for themselves. But a lot of contextual stuff there as well.
Yeah, so that was another thing that's something I want to do, is kind of publish that book. Again, it'll be on Amazon, ebook, or you can do hard copies, but there again, it's print on demand, so you don't actually have to spend 10 grand getting 1,000 books, or 10,000 books. What else? That was mainly it, I suppose. When it comes to health, probably do more on the kind of Pilates type stuff, because I damaged my back a long time ago, and I still have to keep check on it,
Yeah.
So probably going all in with something like Pilates or yoga, maybe yoga or
Pilates or Pilates. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's Conor McGregor is in the house here. It's
human movement.
Pilates.
Final movement. Is it Pilates? I've been calling
Pilates.
Pilates.
Am I?
Sure?
Pilates. It might be.
Listeners, if you want to.
Yeah. Send Luke at shark.a.
How do you pronounce it? Phonetically.
Yeah.
I suppose that'd be the main thing. Meditation. People keep talking about meditation. Especially entrepreneur types. So maybe that's something I could.
You dig into.
Yeah.
We could do that. Like I got really into that type of stuff before as well.
Yeah.
Doing the yoga, doing the meditation. I mean, Katie did like a month of hot yoga or Bikram yoga. Then I watched the documentary as well.
On that guy?
Yeah. What a fucking baller. I'm sorry. Actually, no. Sorry. Actually, I'll take that back. He raped those people in the end.
Did he? You cut that right out.
No, but he had a lot of cars, and that's what I was talking
about. I haven't seen the documentary about it.
Anyway, I digress. No, I'm saying that might be a cool podcast to have like a Buddhist in.
Yeah,
and talk about.
Yeah, I actually know one. Actually, I'm doing a painting for.
I'm singing Buddhist for
a guy who was living on the Bear Peninsula. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So it's like a Buddhist kind of commune or retreat.
Cool.
Or something like that,
so interesting. That's on the podcast. We're trying to talk to interesting people as well. It doesn't always have to be a business.
Yeah.
It's lifestyle design as well. Being a Buddhist is lifestyle. It's the Buddhism is going to be so different than what we grew up with. I was an altar boy. Went to Catholic school like most people in Ireland. So giving another perspective on that is very interesting as well. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. And again, we said, we'll have our main kind of goals that we'll check in with, but then we're going to do maybe a little challenge every month. Nothing crazy, but maybe it's giving up social media for a month, apart from the podcast that we're important stuff, or tracking your screen time, or going vegan, or, learning how to, do graphic design or illustration or something, so.
Yeah, take some sort of mini course or do
Yeah,
something. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And with the mini courses, what was I going to say there? Can't remember now. What was the last thing that we went through there?
Just the goals, I
Just
suppose.
goals.
That was
Okay.
the end of my goals, yeah.
So our goals are set for this year. I like some of your goals. They're a little bit more, like they're a little bit bigger than my ones, which I want to maybe redress some of that.
Yeah.
And see where I can go bigger. Like so when I was growing up, I always thought there was kind of two ways of doing things. One was go down the very boring route of that fixed income safe thing, and then I thought that the only other thing was that kind of swashbuckling entrepreneurship, all in, balls in, as we'll come to next week. But there's actually that kind of middle way now where I'm like an entrepreneur within a company, and I'm kind of enjoying that as well. So it's kind of like sometimes my goals are capped in that way, but it's still moving towards all good things. And so, but sometimes when I listen to like Grant Cardone or something, he's talking about that 10x stuff, and I'm like, if he can do it, I'm missing Uncle G. Uncle G. So after you listen to this podcast, go listen to that.
Maybe that should be one of your challenges, to get him on the podcast.
Oh my! Now we're talking. That's 100%. Like that's the new goal. Get him on the podcast.
In the next episode, we'll recap and confirm what it is, and then
actually like nail it down, because Uncle G wouldn't have to be in studio. Although he was in Dublin 8 there recently, as I saw.
No, but through the interweb.
Through the internet. I think we could get that done.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So where are we at when it comes to this? We're at. Guess what time we're at there. A wark.
I don't know. What?
Almost 2 hours.
Is it? Yeah. Maybe you can break that up into 2 different podcasts.
I know. I think we're going to let it run. But okay. So we are going to be. Let's cut it there for today. We've got a lot of editing to do. I've got to learn how to edit and all that type of stuff. It's part of the learning about the podcast. Just as a takeaway to people, thanks for staying this long listening. We really dug into what makes Mark Baker tick. We're going to be looking for a way to build our tribe over the next year. I think that it's going to be a bit of a journey. It looks like it's a little bit of a tin pot studio here, as Mark called it when he came in. Something that I've been working on for a long time.
A lot of things taped together.
A lot of things taped together. A lot of blue tack, white tack, a lot of tack, basically, in here. But we're very glad that you stayed this long to listen to us. I just want to leave you guys with the message of just be like a shark, always moving forward, and we'll see you next week. Okay, so.